Welcome back to another Celtics Nation Rise recap. Your Celtics win in a nail biter against the Nets of a score of 130-126. This game should definitely have not got to this point, unfortunately, but clutch shots from Hugo Gonzalez, Sam Hauser, and Peyton Pritchard down the stretch. Big block by Mario Williams, main Celtics guy that we've been covering. It's nice to see him getting some reps, but this game should not have been where it was. It should not have gone this way, and a little frustrating, but we came away with the win, and that's something to be happy about. So, fellas, give me your first takeaway from tonight.
Uh, Tough one, really tough one, like you said, Andrew. And like we've been talking about for the last like 20 minutes after the game ended, should not have gone to double overtime against a team that just scored 66 points in a whole game like 2 days ago. I don't know what it was, but it's just something like we've been talking about. It's just something about playing the Celtics that just gives these random guys the confidence to go for 20 or 30 sometimes, and just to never do that again for the rest of the season. So it was a really frustrating one. But yeah, glad we ended up getting the win. I'd say actually, yeah, we'll get more into it later. But yeah, really happy about the win.
Exactly. Yeah. What about you, Carl?
I agree with you too. I love that we picked up this win, but we should have won in this way where we're now having to fight and battle in a double overtime situation. You know, I'm I'm watching the game with my youngest brother and I'm yelling for them to just please, 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 please either rebound that ball or get a center in there. Garza fouls out, get Amari in there, Chris Boucher is there. You know, there was just simple things that they could have cleaned up and fixed up to avoid getting into this situation in the first place. But thankfully, after some clutch moves like Amari Williams' block, as one of you had previously mentioned, and some big threes, including from Hugo Gonzalez, came away with the win, and I'm happy about that. But again, could have been a bit better there.
Yeah, I agree. This is something that's frustrating. Like you mentioned, Daniel, after the Nets just put up 66 points in their last game, to let them stay this close throughout the entirety, it's frustrating to see, and it it's just one game, and it happens to the best of the teams, but playing down to the Nets level and underestimating a team going into it. I think there's a lot of mental preparation that goes into playing any team across the NBA, and it's something that the Celtics needed to do tonight. They needed to say, "Hey, we're playing the Nets," and I'm sure this was a message. It just didn't go through. We're playing the Nets. They lost 66. They only had 66 points. They're gonna come with a little vengeance. They're gonna come with a little. They're a little embarrassed. They're gonna try to really give it to us tonight, and the Celtics didn't get that memo, and unfortunately, they went to double overtime, and now they have to put on a back to back against the Bulls tomorrow. So, yes, they came with the win, which is very exciting. But it's like these little mistakes they add up over the course of the season. Now we're playing on a double back to back, when it's unfortunate. But I will say there were some positives. I think seeing Amari Williams get in late during the game and experience that pressure in an NBA environment, and make big plays, that's huge for his development. Hugh Gonzalez hitting a big three late down the stretch, that gives him some extra confidence. And Joe Mazzulla making that read to get Hugo Gonzalez open when they're on that in that zone. He made the right read, made the right play, and got him open, right? So, yes, this is a frustrating win. That's a weird sentence, but it could have been a lot easier. But I do think there were some positives to take away from this game, despite kind of the way it happened. And I'm sure they're going to be asking Joe Mazzulla, what happened here? What happened there? And Joe Mazzulla is going to give you answers, but ultimately he's going to say, hey, we won the game. And when it comes down to it, that's what matters. And they're going to move on to the next game with the Bulls, and try to try to build on this. So we're gonna go. Let's go into the quarters and kind of see how this game unfolded.
Yeah. Really close one. It should not have been this way, but yeah, we end up. Andrew, is this the? This is a graphic
Oh,
for the
my
Pacers one.
apologies. My apologies.
All good.
Bear with me.
Yeah.
My bad guess. But let me pull this thing up. Here we are.
There we
Here we
go.
are. Here we are.
All right. So, yeah, as you can see now, really, really close one. Celtics and the Nets tie in the first quarter, both scoring 28 points. The Celtics then scored 27 in the second quarter compared to the Nets 21. It was still a really close game at the halftime where, oh, sorry, the Nets scored 27 in the second quarter with the Celtics only scoring 21. So we were down for the most part. It was close, but we were down again after the third quarter. But we did end up scoring 29 points compared to the Nets 26. And then in the fourth quarter, we scored 26 points compared to the Nets 23, which tied up the game and sent it to overtime, unfortunately, where both teams were tied again after the first overtime. 14 points to both teams. And then we finally end up getting the lead in that second overtime, scoring 12 points compared to the Nets 8. Um, so yeah, we both teams had really big leads in the game in this game. Again, should not have happened like we've been saying. But as you can see by the differential, it was a really um it was a real battle between both teams. The Nets leading for the most part, but I'm glad we ended up with the win.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll bring it back. Like you said, it was a close one throughout, and I already mentioned it, but the fact we found a way to pull away with this win and not kind of let these woes throughout the game. Like we very much could have just kind of said, "Damn, we're letting the Nets beat us, get down on ourselves." But we had guys like Billy Shireman come in and kind of pick the team up. We had Hugo Gonzalez getting putbacks, knocking down threes, and all that. So very nice job again. And I want to bring up a player now that had an impact tonight, but he's been having an impact throughout these last 4, 5 games. Sam Hauser. Sam Hauser's playing phenomenal. Um, I don't know the stats pulled up right here, but he is really, really playing well as we lose Daniel. So but he's playing extremely well right now, playing with confidence, reading the defense, and taking what the defense is ultimately giving him. And I think that is something that has been very nice to see. And I just kind of wanted to get your perspective on this. How important it is for Sam Hauser to be playing at the level that he's playing.
You want to go ahead with the Daniel or David? My apologies.
It is Daniel.
Daniel, my apologies. My
It's all
apologies.
good. It's all good, Carl. You're okay, Carl. Griffin used to do this all the time at the start. Griffin, if you're watching, you'll know. I'm used
I
to it. I'm
try
used to
not
it.
to.
Yeah, that's all right. Griffin knows this feeling. It's really important to see someone like Sam Hauser find his rhythm finally. Um, I've been mentioning this for a long time. I've been for the fact that we need someone else. We need a bench player or like one of those other starters to kind of kick in. We have Jalen Brown making sacrifices and making and having good games and contributing. We have Pritchard occasionally contributing for the most part. We have Derek White. So we needed someone else to step up in terms of scoring, especially in games like these. And I'm glad that Hauser and Simmons sometimes have finally found their rhythm and their place in this team. It's really important for Hauser as well because like man, there were some times like I think like late last season or something where we were like, or at least I was like, oh, okay, Hauser, you can take a seat. We got Shyman. Hauser, you're good. Shyman, you can step up and fill in that role.
Mhm.
So I will admit I was really down on Hauser, kind of like late the second half of last season. But this season I think he started off kind of poor, but like you said, he's starting to find his place and is starting to really contribute in the team in terms of scoring, and he does a lot more than scoring in my opinion. So I'm glad we got his contribution tonight because it was very much needed.
Definitely. What do you think, Carl?
Absolutely. Like I'm gonna have to agree with that. It's great that you brought up Sam Hauser there, Andrew, because yeah, Sam Hauser, starts off the season not too hot, and as Daniel mentioned before too, this wasn't the same Sam Hauser, from the championship team that we had, and a general consensus was that Shireman was supposed to take his place just because he was a bit younger and could provide somewhat of that production that Hauser should have provided. But definitely in these last, few games, which of course includes this game as well, you're getting, I'd say a new side of Sam Hauser where you're getting a
Yeah.
bit of, those threes from him from years prior, but also you're getting him more on the defensive end, simple things like the steals, simple things like taps as well, rebounding. And, it's just very cool and very, interesting to see, Sam Hauser in this position within his career where he's more than just the guy who's shooting threes. He's impacting the Celtics in more ways than one. As I'm talking about taps, certain things like that are very important. It may be small to, some people, but are incredibly important, getting that ball out to your team as best as you can. So, I love seeing Sam Hauser playing in the way that he is. And, with the trade deadline coming in very soon, I thought maybe the Celtics would have given him the boot just because he wasn't really playing, as well. But the last few games have definitely changed my perspective on the whole matter. It's almost like the Anthony Simons situation if they were going to keep him long term. But of course, with Hauser, it's a bit different because you actually were with him for seasons and you won a championship with him. It is great to see that he's developed more into just a guy who can shoot threes and impact the Boston Celtics, winning wise, in ways that he's been doing outside of threes, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely want to reiterate your sentiment on Hauser on the defensive side. I think late in this game, he was matched up a couple times with Cam Thomas, a prolific scorer. Uh, Michael Porter Jr. obviously was cooking tonight on the offensive end, and he was just finding ways to get stops, bodying up, making their lives difficult, getting heavy contests, and really, really putting pressure on those guys. And it's amazing to see Hauser's growth from when he first started here on the Celtics to now, and for him to be such a defensive threat, taking what the defense has given him on the offensive end, moving without the ball, and really just Joe Mazzulla was talking about in the press conference, creating those 2-on-1 opportunities for the Celtics. He is just playing his role to the highest potential, and it's amazing, amazing to see. So good on Hauser, and I want to get into kind of back into the rhythm of the show and get back into the stats. I'll take it away with the Nets. Tonight, the Nets, as I said, led by Michael Porter Jr., 30 points. He likes to fry the Celtics. I don't know what it's about. He's unconscious when he plays the Celtics. He's been like that for the entire season, playing every team. But when it comes to the Celtics, man, I don't know. The way he rises up over shots, over players, like just with so much confidence, it's crazy to watch. Noah Clowney, 15 points, 9 rebounds. He was kind of a bright spot, in my opinion, for the Nets tonight. Kind of all over the place, playing physical, knocking down shots when needed. Claxton, 2 massive putbacks, got a box out. That last play, we overhelped on the shooter on Michael Porter, and he just slipped out, put back. Man, that was impressive to watch. And then Zaire Williams, 14. Traore, season high or career high, 21 points. The Frenchman, he was creating tonight, moving well, staying high energy and impressive to watch. And then the rest of the bench kind of fizzled out. Cam Thomas only 7 points tonight, which is nice to see. But overall, the Nets pretty even scoring throughout. But the Celtics were able to limit the Nets just to a little bit so they could get that win. But Carl, why don't you take away the Celtic stats for us?
Absolutely. When it comes to the Celtics game, of course, you can't, talk about it without, starting off with Peyton Pritchard, who I would say essentially was the superstar of this game. 32 points, six threes, very productive, and also getting his 4 rebounds and 4 assists in there. And for the most part, of course, was making his shots. In total, was 54% in shooting in total. And then right behind him or close to him there too, Jaylen Brown gives you a triple double of 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists. Jaylen Brown continues to show that he is developing more as a playmaker and assister within this team. And it is great to see that if he's, not doing too well on the offensive end or any other end, he can, rely on the playmaking side of things, which, yeah, he was 33% in field goal percentile. Not terrible, but of course not necessarily the best, but still a pretty good game from him. Very productive there. As we talked about, Sam Hauser was also very important to this massive win for us. Well, interesting win, I'll say. Not massive, but interesting win. He ends the game with 19 points on 58% in shooting and majority of his shots coming from his 5 threes. So it was great to see Sam Hauser doing great on the threes, but also great on the defensive end as well, as we already discussed. He does have 1 steal, but if you're watching that game as well, you know that he was, doing more than just the 1 steal and the 3 threes as well. Baylor Shireman ends the game with 6 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists on 25% in shooting, which people may look at that and be like, whatever, but he was also pretty important. The stats don't necessarily, reflect on how the person actually performed. And, it shows with Shireman here, he was still productive. And those 7 rebounds are a key reason why he was, a major factor into this eventual victory.
That steal
And
as
of
well.
course,
The steal he
I'm
got for
sorry?
the steal as well. The steal he got for the
Yeah.
goal bucket late in the game.
That
That
little
was very
dig
Yes.
off,
massive as well.
humongous,
Oof.
big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yes.
He has
Yes.
he has those plays every once in a while where his instincts just kick in and he gets those big steals and it's like you didn't even see it coming. You didn't even see it coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Oof. I loved it. I love it. And I like how you mentioned that too, because now we're getting into, again, one of my favorite players on this team, Hugo Gonzalez, near double double, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 2 threes. One of those threes, if that does not go in, we lose this game. This kid is absolutely incredible. I've said it many times. This is the boy wonder. This is the guy leading all rookies in plus minus. Just absolutely incredible. You can't ask any more for Hugo Gonzalez because he's always showing that effort. Garza plays well too with his 12 points on over 50% in shooting before fouling out of the game. And then, you got to give your shout outs to Ron Harper Jr. Not only the 1 block, but it is great to see him dipping his toes into, the NBA system. And of course, Amari Williams. Putting him in that later stretch of the game was incredibly important. I feel like personally he should have gotten in there sooner because we really needed the rebounding. We really needed the defense. And it showed within those last overtime quarters in this game. He had his 3 points, his 1 assist, which looked great, and his 1 block. Just absolutely incredible. And even though the stats may be minimal, it doesn't matter. He was still impactful, just like everybody else that we mentioned here, and important to this victory. And I get more and more excited to see this kid playing, and I hope that he's a part of a regular rotation when it comes to the center position. Just absolutely great to see him getting the chances that he's getting right now.
Agreed. Yeah. And for Amari Williams to be on the bench majority of this game and then to just be thrown into the fire in double OT, I mean, that speaks a lot about who he is as a player to stay ready for the big moment and look completely calm. I mean, he just looked like he belonged out there. And I also think Ron Harper Jr., despite not putting the ball in the basket and maybe not playing how he wanted to. I think he also looked like he belonged out there. Like he didn't look out of place. He was playing within the flow of the offense and ready to play. And I think he could honestly be a contributor come later in this season if we need him. I really do believe that from what I saw just from tonight in those short amount of minutes. So congratulations to both of them for having impactful minutes and finding ways to stay ready. To stay ready when a guy like Derek White is out. And that's another thing to mention too. Derek White was not in this game.
Yeah, I just
And
forgot about that.
and I think we all know the kind of player Derek White is, but I think tonight it may even re-emphasize the kind of player he is because we could have needed him tonight. We could have used him just as a player who glue. He's a glue for this team, I think personally, and he makes all the right decisions and gives the Celtics advantages that they otherwise might not have when he's not in the game. And so tonight shows us why he's such an important piece to this team. I mean, this was his second game missed this year, and he does not miss many games. So he was missed tonight, but obviously very, very, uh, very noticeable that he was not out there on the floor tonight. I'd say so. Um, Tonight, obviously, we won, so we have an MVP. I think I kind of know where we're gonna go, but I don't want to spoil it just yet. So, Daniel, if you want to take it away, give us your MVP vote.
Start off by saying this, Griffin, if you're watching once again, beginning of the season or even preseason, I was one of the biggest like Omario Williams fans. I was so glad we drafted him, and I was really glad we finally had like another center after disposing ourselves of Porzingis later on. But I wish he played more minutes tonight because if he had played more minutes tonight, I think I would have immediately been ready to give him CNR MVP with the performance he had. But I think it has to go to Hugo Gonzalez after knocking down that really big shot. I'm giving it to Hugo. It might be a little bit of a surprise to some people, but I think Hugo definitely.
No, I could see it. I'm not gonna lie, I could see it. That dude Hugo is always ready to go. He's always pumping up the team, uh, fist pumping, showing energy, and in a tonight where you needed that energy, he came in big. So
There's
you have
also
a
a lot of
right.
people
You have a
that could have won this one today. So I wouldn't be surprised if we all have
yeah.
different
It's a tough vote. Tough vote.
nominations. Yeah.
Carl, what do you where you going with this?
I'm gonna have to do Ego. That massive three, that massive three, and just in general, him being a part of that game really turned the tide for us. Again,
Mhm.
it's like Andrew said, he is always ready. He's always, showing that energy and displaying why he matters and he needs to be a part of this team. I feel like in the future, he's going to be a big reason why we win a series, maybe a championship in the next year or so, just because of small things that he does that carries over into some of the bigger moments. So yeah, I'm going to take Hugo in this case.
Yeah, yeah. I think Daniel, you had a very convincing answer, and I think it's kind of trickling over here because I'm with you. I'm gonna go Hugo tonight as well. So he is your Celtics Nation Rise MVP for tonight, and I'm with all of you guys. I know I said it kind of right before this, but yeah, he was the steady guy tonight. He was. I don't care that we're playing the Nets. I don't. I'm not too cool for this. We're gonna try to win this game. And for him, it was for me. It was he picked these guys up in the moments where they were down, and that's what he did tonight. And so, for him to do that, a young guy just bringing energy in a tough game, that's what you need. And so, kudos to Hugo for playing a really solid game, but most importantly, having the intensity in the will to win for this team. So Hugo Gonzalez is your MVP tonight. I want to show Griffin what a game, double OT. Shout out Ron Harper. and Amari Williams on the minutes. Big time for them.
Shout out Griff as well. Shout out
Yes,
Griffin.
sir, Griffin. Keeping us all steady. He's like our Hugo. He's like our Hugo, man.
He's our Hugo. Yeah,
He
facts.
locks it down, keeps us going.
Only
Always got his,
19.
he's only 19. And how he always preaches. He always says, you got to keep your foot on the gas pedal. He doesn't just say that. He does that. He does
Yeah,
that. So we
facts.
appreciate him, man. You might be watching. I don't know, but we
He's our
appreciate you,
MVP.
Griffin. You're our MVP,
Yeah.
110%. Thank you, Griffin, for all that you do. But as we kind of come to a close, do you guys have any takeaways from tonight's game that you saw, in addition to your original takeaways?
I think something that really have to I think two things. Yeah, I have two things to mention, and kind of getting on a little bit on the negative side tonight, but it's necessary. I think free throws are costing us a little bit in these games, especially when it comes to Brown and some of these other guys that should be knocking down those free throws but didn't. I mean, if you look at it from the perspective of well, I don't know what perspective, but that first free throw miss by Simons, um that could have given us that extra point we needed to not go to overtime. Now we did win the game, but I think free throws have to be implemented more, maybe into the practices or something like that. Whatever needs to be done in order to make sure these guys knock down their free throws when necessary. Because Brown's been having this issue for the past few seasons. I think for the past 3 seasons or whatever, where like he gets to end one or he gets two free throws and just like makes one of them or just misses both sometimes, and that kind of costs us games sometimes, like especially late in the game. And so I will mention that. Again, glad we won, but that's just something I was thinking about. Free throws, gotta make them. They can make or break a game. So yeah, free throws, and then something else I wanted to mention was something that's been mentioned already: rebounding. They were destroying us in terms of rebounding. I think especially since once Cato went out, it was looking bad for us, especially late in the game when both Cato and Garza were out. Which brings me to the point that Carl made. I think he should have played. Sorry, Amari Williams should have played a lot sooner, because we needed that strength. We needed that extra effort in terms of rebounding, and it seemed like the guys on the team just didn't have that late in the game. So it not only gave the Nets a lot more opportunities, like they got second chance and third chance, maybe sometimes even fourth chance opportunities to score just because we couldn't rebound the ball. But it also killed time on the clock as well, because they're getting the ball back and then going up again and then getting the ball back. So just a couple things to kind of think about. But let's get back on the good side. Glad we won this game. Glad, and I'm also glad that a lot of the guys on the team had a massive impact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Oh, you go, Carl. You go.
yeah, pretty much what Daniel said. I'm just going to echo those sentiments. Got to do better on the rebounding. Got to do better on the free throw attempts. Even with Jaylen Brown doing a tiny bit better, compared to other seasons, we need consistency with the free throws, especially in the current position that he's in right now. And I would really hope that this isn't a detriment going into tomorrow's game, because they've exuded all of that energy just to, win this game. And, hopefully Derek White will be back, for this game. He should be back because it was only rest he was out with. Um, but I would hope that this would not hinder them as they're doing battle with the Chicago Bulls tomorrow. Other than that, great to see that they won, but let's try not to play with our food next time, please.
I was trying to pull it up. It was actually pretty equal tonight. The Celtics, the fouls drawn were fairly equal, but I did think early in this game the Celtics need to get into the paint a little more in drive and not settle as much. And I think if I'm watching the game, you see the Pacers game we played the last Pacers game that we played, the Celtics were driving to the paint and creating contact and drawing those fouls. And tonight, earlier in the game, less so. And I think the Celtics, yeah, maybe there's a little complaining here and there that we're not getting the calls, but when it comes down to it, you gotta match that physicality and drive to the paint. Joe Mazzulla was talking about it, so I think that's something that they can improve on too. Is not settling. I know it's Mazzulla ball. You want to get as many shots up as possible, knock down as many threes, but in a game like this tonight where you want to kind of control the pace, control the tempo, and not play messy basketball and not let them Nets get that. Because that's what the Nets want you to do. They want you to play out of control. They want you to play down to their level. And so the Celtics need to do that earlier on in this game to get the victory. But they still got the victory tonight. So, you can complain all you want. And like I said, Joe Mazzulla, he doesn't care. He got the win. So that's really all that matters. And he got film. Now we can break down a bunch of film and improve this team. But that's gonna do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for watching another Celtics Nation Rise recap. Go check out our new podcast as well on the Celtics Nation Rise YouTube channel. We discussed the Tatum return. I know it's a hot topic, but we're covering it and we're anticipating that. So go check that out. And once again, thank you for watching. And the Celtics are going to play the Bulls tonight. Let's hope they're not too tired. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Bye.
Peace.
See you later.